They threw you into hell. They surrounded you with fire, smoke, and the echo of their laughter. They thought you would break. They thought that the storm inside you would drown you, that the darkness would consume your light. But here you are, still standing, still breathing, still burning with a fire they could never ignite. You look around and you see the ruins they built. You see the cages, the walls, the whispered doubts they planted in your mind. They called you weak. They said you weren't enough. They laughed at your dreams, mocked your ambition, dismissed your hunger. They did not know the truth. They did not know that you were not just flesh and bone, but a force waiting to be unleashed. Do you feel that? The pulse inside your chest? That is not fear. That is the first beat of your revolution. That is the rhythm of the old you fading, burning into smoke, and the new you rising from the ashes. They expected you to crumble. They expected you to kneel. They expected tears, apologies, excuses. They counted on your silence. They counted on your fear. But reality is never what they anticipate. Reality is brutal. Reality is yours. You learned to breathe underwater, to walk through fire without turning to ash. You survived nights where the cold gnawed at your bones, where loneliness screamed in your ears louder than any voice could. You survived betrayal that tasted like poison, betrayal that should have broken you. Do you remember those moments when they smiled, thinking they won? Did you feel that? That tight, suffocating grip of their expectation pressing against your ribs? That was the moment you discovered the truth. They could not touch your soul, not your mind, not your will, not the storm that lived behind your eyes. You rose because you had no choice. You rose because survival demanded more than surrender. And slowly, imperceptibly, the old you began to dissolve. At first, it was quiet, subtle, a flicker of defiance in your heart, a whisper that said, "I am not finished." You walked through the ruins they left behind, stepping over the broken pieces of what they thought would trap you. You touched the ashes and felt something strange. Power, potential, possibility. Then came the fire. Real fire. The kind that consumes everything except the core of your being. You embraced it. You let it shape you, mold you, twist you until weakness became strength, pain became armor, and fear became fuel. Do you remember the nights you stared at the ceiling, imagining a life they said was impossible? They called it delusion. They called it arrogance. They said you would never rise. But delusion is just the language of those who fear greatness. And arrogance, well, arrogance is often just courage misunderstood. You learned to fight without weapons. You learned to win battles without armies. You became a master of your own mind, a sovereign of your own will. Every obstacle, every insult, every betrayal became another rung on the ladder to your rebirth. And with each rung, the old you became smaller, dimmer, less relevant. The fire inside you is no longer timid. It roars. It consumes doubt. It devours fear. It forges resilience. You are becoming a storm that they cannot predict, a force they cannot control. And then they saw it. They saw you changing. Did you notice how they faltered when you smiled after pain? Did you notice the confusion in their eyes when you thrived where they expected you to collapse? Did they really think you'd stay broken? Did they really believe that silence, tears, and absence of power would define you forever? Look at them now, hesitation, fear, envy, because the very thing they tried to destroy, the very thing they mocked and belittled, has become unstoppable. You are no longer their victim. You are their anomaly. You are the glitch in their system, the fire they cannot extinguish. Every word they said, every trap they set, every lie they whispered, it all became fuel. You turned it all into something greater than you were before. And they hate it. They despise it. Because they cannot understand how someone they tried to break has become untouchable. And you revel in it. Not with cruelty, but with serenity. Not with vengeance, but with mastery. Every glance they throw your way is now meaningless. You walk through life unshaken, untethered, unstoppable. The first victory comes quietly, a whisper of achievement, a single success, a moment they cannot claim or tarnish. You feel it in your bones. the thrill of proving them wrong, not for them, not for revenge, but for yourself. That is power, real power, the kind that begins in silence and grows until it consumes entire rooms, entire lives, entire worlds. Then comes the second victory. You rise above their chaos. While they scramble, frantic and disoriented, you stand calm, centered, collected. You are the eye of the storm. Their fear becomes your fuel. Their envy becomes your melody. And with every step, every triumph, every quiet victory, the old you fades further. Gone, vanished, irrelevant. Imagine this. You are standing at the edge of a cliff. Below, the storm rages. The winds scream, the waves crash, and yet you do not flinch, you do not falter, you leap, not recklessly, but with purpose, with certainty. And as you fall, the storm bows to your courage. The wind bends around you. The thunder applauds your audacity. Every obstacle now feels small. Every betrayal becomes a lesson. Every insult becomes a mirror, reflecting your growing strength. You begin to see yourself not as a survivor, but as a creator. Not as a victim, but as a force of nature. You are forging a destiny that no one can steal. The third victory is the moment of indifference. You no longer need their validation. Their opinions bounce off your armor. Their judgments crumble like sand beneath your feet. They thought they controlled the narrative. They thought they held the power. But you hold everything. You have mastered the art of rising, and now the world bows, not out of fear, but out of inevitability. You have become someone they cannot define, cannot contain, cannot stop. You walk into rooms and command presence without speaking. You conquer challenges before they even see them. You thrive in chaos, in darkness, in fire. They watch and wonder, how did this happen? How did someone they deemed weak become invincible? And you smile, not because you want them to suffer, but because you finally understand their opinion never mattered, their judgment never mattered. Their power over you was an illusion from the start. You are no longer chasing approval. You are no longer hiding scars. You are no longer apologizing for ambition, for hunger, for being alive in a world that tried to suffocate you. You are the storm, the flame, the rising sun. You are unstoppable because you no longer need permission to exist. Do you feel it? That surge of unstoppable energy? That clarity that nothing and no one can define your worth? That is freedom. That is mastery. That is the ultimate revenge, not in cruelty, but in becoming untouchable, in becoming the best version of yourself while they remain stagnant, bitter, and trapped in mediocrity. And now, you stand tall. The old you is gone, faded, dissolved, burned away by the fire they tried to ignite, but that you mastered. You are no longer bound by fear, no longer shackled by doubt, no longer defined by what they thought of you. Look in the mirror. Who do you see? Not the frightened, hesitant version of yourself, not the version that begged for approval, that trembled at betrayal. No, you see strength, you see fire, you see a force of nature, you see the new you, the one who walks through life unafraid, unshaken, unstoppable. Every scar is a medal, every wound is a lesson, every hardship is a story of triumph. And the greatest victory of all? You survived, you rose, you conquered. You are no longer their prisoner, you are your own master. Remember this every single day. The old you is gone, the chains are broken, the storms have passed, and in the silence that follows, you hear it, the sound of your own heartbeat, strong, steady, unstoppable. That is your power, that is your life, that is your story. And they will watch, they will envy, they will wonder, and it won't matter, because you are no longer theirs to break. You are yours to command. You are the new you. You are unstoppable. Rise, breathe, step into the fire. The world awaits. They underestimated you. They looked at your silence and assumed it was weakness. They watched your hesitation and thought it was fear, but they didn't see what was unfolding beneath the surface. They didn't see the quiet storm brewing in your chest. They didn't see the fire in your soul that no mockery, no insult, no betrayal could ever extinguish. Every time they whispered that you weren't enough, that your dreams were impossible, that your voice didn't matter, you listened, but you didn't obey. You stored it, you transformed it, you turned it into a weapon far sharper than their words, far stronger than their expectations. Do you feel it? That pulse inside you, that rising tension that refuses to be contained. That is your power. That is the energy of someone who has survived what others couldn't even imagine. That is the rhythm of transformation. Every sleepless night, every tear shed in secret, every moment you felt invisible, they all contributed to the forging of a stronger, sharper, wiser you. You didn't just survive, you evolved. You became something they cannot name, something they cannot understand, something they cannot touch. And now, when you step into a room, the air itself changes. People notice. Even they notice. Not because you demand attention, but because you exude presence, because you radiate power that is undeniable. Did they really think you'd stay small forever? Did they truly believe that someone who has walked through fire would crumble at a shadow? Look at them now, confused, uneasy, trying to figure out what they missed. They tried to script your life. They tried to dictate your value. They tried to break your wings. But you wrote your own story. You drew your own path. You became the architect of your destiny. Remember those moments when doubt whispered, when fear clawed at your mind, when despair tried to settle in your chest? You didn't run. You didn't hide. You didn't give them the satisfaction of seeing you falter. Instead, you faced it, you owned it, and you turned it into motion. Every setback became momentum. Every insult became fuel. Every betrayal became a map, guiding you toward mastery of yourself, mastery of your choices, mastery of your life. And now they are stunned. They see your success, your calm, your command of your own destiny. They see the fire in your eyes and wonder if they ever understood you at all. But their understanding doesn't matter anymore. Their judgment is irrelevant. Your path is yours alone. You are no longer bound by their limitations. You are no longer defined by their opinions. You are a force that rises beyond their comprehension, beyond their control, beyond their reach. So step forward. Own your power. Stand in your light. Let the world see what it looks like when someone refuses to be broken, when someone refuses to be small, when someone refuses to surrender to expectation. Let every breath you take be a declaration. You are unstoppable. Let every movement you make echo with certainty. You are unshakable. Let every moment of your life be a testament to the fact that the old you is gone and the new you has arrived, stronger, wiser, and untouchable. Because here's the truth that they will never understand. They can try to hold you down. They can try to slow you. They can try to silence you. But they cannot. They never could. The strength inside you was always greater than any obstacle they placed before you. And now, as you rise higher than ever before, as you claim what is rightfully yours, you realize one thing: freedom is not given, power is not granted, victory is not served. They are earned, and you have earned them all.